Ah,
My friend called me while Shrimp City was playing, and I answered on speaker and just turned the volume. You know what? I just want to say, Carly, thank you for creating content. Hello again, Carly. I am struggling with this one boss that I just walked up to. Oh, I didn't want to do that. All right, let's see what we got. Oh shit. Shit. Oh shit. That gamma clap like the whole. Oh, what the? Hey, no way! Hey, no way! He did some like Liu Kang kick across the fucking map, bro. First of all, I need to know who added that fucking emo, bro.
断了阵脚。大王料理。
Golly. Shit. Fucking gamma clap, bro. Holy shit. Oh boy. You trying to fuck on me, bro? Oh. You trying to fuck on me, man? Hey, try? Yeah, no, he fucked on me. Damn. Do I have the other gourd? You mean this one? Oh shit, what did I just do? Evil repelling, that one? The evil repelling one? Arrow, this is my first time playing the game. I don't even know what each gourd does. Nah, the drinking one? I was under the assumption that I've always had the drinking one. How does your attack reach me from there, bro? You ain't shit, bro. Your big ass head. My bad! Fuck, I said my bad! No. Oh, gourd. Oh, gamma clap. Oh shit. I cannot absorb spirits without guidance. I'm playing this game, Carly, called Black Myth Wukong. Essentially it's about the Monkey King. I would say this it says just chatting. Don't yell at me. I'm not yelling at you. Oh, I don't know who changed it to just chatting, but thank you. Oh. Yeah, Ale, thank you. Oh my God.
Stay calm. Wait. Everybody calm down.
I learned how to do a monkey shadow puppet yesterday.
Oh my God. Stay calm. Wait. Everybody calm down.
Decent, blessing, money, testimony. Go to follow, you let go. Decent, good news.
Mr. Light, welcome on in. Maverick, welcome on in. Steel, welcome on in. Brody, thank you guys for the happy affiliate anniversaries. Wolf Moon Soul, welcome on in. How y'all doing, man?
We outside!
Ale, how was your stream? What game were you playing, Ale? Lego Marvel Superheroes was Steel's game, and Ale was playing Valorant. Yo, can you believe that I've never, ever played Valorant in my life? I literally got 0 seconds played on that game. Thank you so much, guys, for choosing me as your raid target. And Carly, thank you for letting me know that it is that was on Just Chatting. So Carly, what other like shadow puppets do you know? I didn't even know that there was a monkey one. Like I'm trying to figure out with my hands, like how would I do that? You have to use both hands? Yo, the trip was fire, bro. I got to meet a lot of people for the first time ever. Carly being one of them. I am sad to report that Carly did not wear the orange dress though. So I'm sad about that. But besides that, yo, the vibes were immaculate, man. Honestly, it was more like, it felt like a staycation because we just ate irresponsibly and got high a very irresponsible amount as well. Mixed that with a lot of drinking, and yeah, that's pretty much how it was, man. But it was a vibe. Carly, no, you weren't. Shut up, Carly. You were not responsible. Okay, so I'm trying to Steel, how was Lego, bro? Are we trying to get the platinum in Lego? Oh, yo, bro, because we took TED shots, bro. We took mad TED shots. Me and Duff by ourselves. We went through a bottle of a Gentleman's Jack in like half an hour time, I believe. In like a half an hour, we went through a whole bottle of Gentleman's Jack. I don't know how we did it, bro, but we were just there drinking. Holy shit, bro. The only person I ever seen drink Jack faster than that was Prez. 11-11-11. A day that I'll forever fucking remember, bro. I was only drunk at one moment and I smoke like that regularly. Okay. I'm glad that you were like you allowed yourself to get drunk though like that. You know what I mean? 11-11 was a good day for you too. Oh, I didn't say it was a good day for Prez though. I didn't say that. It's just a memorable day. 25th birthday celebration, but man, 25 was almost the last number he fucking saw. Yo, the way, holy shit, bro. The way shit. Yo, have you ever threw a fucking surprise party for somebody only for them to be alive for like 15 minutes of it, and then you spend the whole night celebrating them without them being there? Yeah, that was 11-11 for us, bro. Literally, probably the first and only time I was able to throw a surprise party for Prez, and he was only conscious. He was only conscious for like 15 minutes of it, and so we spent the whole night celebrating him, but he wasn't even there. My man was. We had to move him from the shower upstairs, carry dead weight downstairs to my room, bro. It was a good time, man. It was a fucking good time. Never getting surprised again, bro. Yeah, you're right about that though. It was a surprise for it was a surprise for us. That was the year I moved to the city. Oh damn, that last pull I had was, yo, have you ever, Carly, you ever tasted Acapulco Gold? You ever tasted a strain called Acapulco Gold? Because it's got like a very fruity taste to it. Yeah, in flour. Let me rewind this because I like this song. I just got 2 new cards, peaches and cream and strawberry haze. Yo, let's fucking go. Yeah, working on that platform, just under 50% complete right now. Lego games are a big, yeah, Lego games are a fucking grind. If I ever do, or if I ever try to do a Lego game plat, I probably want to co-op it. You know what I mean? Just so that I could have fun co-oping it. Also, the edibles you left were Chef's Kiss for the plane. Yo, those edibles hit, girl. Like that the 20 milligrams was just like the right amount. When we were watching Borderlands, I wasn't even sure if I was there. Like it just felt like a fever dream. You took 2 of them before the plane ride? Oh, girl, you were toasty. You were toasty as fuck. That was in the drugs. That was that was borderline. I'm barely hanging on after drinking absinthe in Japan. Luckily, we had sitter for Milo. Wait, how'd you guys get a sitter for Milo? You know people in Japan? I was fine. I was just so hungry. Fair, fair. You got a high tolerance for weed, Carly, but you got a low tolerance for alcohol. I picked up on that very quick. But yeah, Steel, the trip was dope, bro. Ale, I don't know, Ale, I don't know if you're still here, Ale. I was asking how your stream went. How was Valorant? But yeah, if you have to go and do the post stream stuff and whatnot, like I totally understand. We had a planner that helped us. Oh, so like the planner like went out there. Well, wait, does the planner reside over there in Japan? Or the planner helped find the sitter for you? Is that what you're saying? I wonder how Milo was with like a foreign sitter. I built my kingdom. Each talent level moderately reduces the stamina cost of charged heavy attacks. After hitting a resolute strike, performing another triangle, consuming focus point, sky full strike. Oh. Alright, but it says I can't get souls without slightly increases critical hit chance. Wait, Arrow, is this what you were talking about? No, that's the evil repelling one. You were telling me if I had the drinking gourd. Coconut wine? Each sip restores 33% of maximum health. So can I come back for that soul? Oh no, I didn't pre-order. I got the deluxe edition, but I didn't pre-order. I'm assuming you've already started this game, Arrow? That soul will always be there until you get it. Okay. Also, Arrow, can you, what does this do? The only use I found for that is, oh shit. The only use I found for that was to deflect like projectiles. That's the only use I don't know if it could do other things. Oh, it hits fast up close? Oh.
She's slurping on my nuts. She's slurping on my nuts. She's slurping, 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 slurping on my nuts.
Thank you so much for the follow, guys. Follows are anonymous. So if you want to remain in the shadows, by all means, you're more than welcome. Thank you for the support. But if you want to say hi, we say hi back. And if you're lucky enough, Carly will give you some weed. You got to be very lucky for that. It doesn't even hit, bro. Oh, that's a pretty shitty offensive attack. I don't like how that felt, Arrow. A devil's bunghole. The one that tastes like cardboard. That's the one Carly will give to you. It does the job, you just won't enjoy it when you smoke it, though. Yo, Duff, I was just talking about how me and you went through that bottle of Gentleman Jack, bro. You know what's crazy too? Because me and Duff, we were being like conservative, right? We were literally planning on buying 2 bottles, and then we looked at it and we looked at each other and we were like, nah, we're not gonna go through a whole bottle in this trip. Boy, were we fucking wrong, man. Boy, were we wrong. Nah, you saw me when I was standing back up, how I was fucking, I was struggling. Oh, I wasn't even paying attention to my life. Devil's Driver was the post office tasting one. Better for bigger enemies? Alright, I'll keep that in mind, Arrow. Wait, damn, does that mean I have to fight that guy again because I never collected his soul? I hope I don't have to fight that guy again. No, I don't. Good. Where's his soul? His soul isn't here. Where did the soul go? Did it disappear because I died? Damn, how many bro, Master Splinter out here shooting so many fucking arrows.
此仙山。
Thank you, Arrow. Sleep with one eye open.
No one's ready to deal with us.
What? Steel, thank you for giving us
No one's ready to deal with us.
Steel Revolution gifted a tier 1 subscription to Arrow_Senpai.
Arrow_Senpai. Now that we're back home, guys, and whatnot, like what was your favorite part about Chicago? That question goes to both Duff and Carly respectively. How dare you interrupt my meditation? It actually rained a lot, bro. It actually rained a lot. The real question is who got their cheeks clapped? Damn. If I got my cheeks clapped, I'm unaware of it. I wish I could do a double jump. Like oh shit, I feel like I could hit this. I feel like this is story progression. Take my hand.
又是只猴子。施主不如放下棍棒，也同我学点佛法，如何？
How many times I gotta dodge, bro? Okay, you motherfucker, bro. Oh shit. Oh, the flame taking. I did a good job dodging him, but damn.
Damn, Sekiro goes hard.
I kind of wish this was more like Sekiro, because then at least I'd be able to parry. You know what I mean? There's no parry system here, so I'm just left with dodging.
Got fucked up after 2 slices of deep dish pizza.
Why you eating deep dish pizza, Sayo? So many better pizzas out there. But stuffed crust isn't even like a pizza type. You got Detroit style, you got deep dish, and you got your original. Also, welcome on in, Meadster. These are wolves. I know they look like rats, but they're wolves. Oh, this one looks like a... Yeah, this one's a wolf. That one's a wolf too. I think the one that shoots the arrows might be a rat. Alright, I gotta go fight that homie. The pizza had Italian salsa, salami, ham, and shrooms. Oh my god.
只是长得像了点儿。
I really wish there was a fucking parry, bro.
Happy affiliate anniversary.
Thank you, Jessa. Everybody bless their cracker. Everybody bless up in chat. I want everybody to look over Jessa's way and let Jessa know that they stretched at me.
I just don't think there's anybody better.
Really? You got it.
You got it. Hey, thank you. Look at us.
Pow!
Hey, look at us. Look at us.
Huh?
Look at us. Do you know what today is? It's our anniversary. Our anniversary. Do you know what today is? It's our anniversary, made for you and me.
I appreciate that, Brody. Thank you so much. This is a spell? As the feral flurry intensifies with each fierce thrust, the flames do arise. Transform into a wolf guai and inflict scorched bane on the enemy with each attack. Oh, I get to transform. Yeah, understood, Arrow.
你这猴儿，顽性不改，这下不妙，都知道你闯进来了。这钟声洪亮清朗，惊动了这儿的妖精。再往前走，可要万万小心。
Was I not supposed to do that?
Oh yeah,
Yo, Rocky, what's goody, bro?
还真有。
I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for coming through and pulling up. Oh, this is the guy that killed me before. Oh damn, I don't got any more gourd. How do I refill my gourd? Bula bula. Yes, it's bula. Yeah, but when I rest at a shrine, all of the enemies pop back out too, right? Damn, that's crazy, Bula. You could have made me a bracelet, man. Where's the love at, yo? You know what my nephew? You know what my nephew did today? My nephew, because I messaged my nephew asking him if he wanted to play some football, and he was like, "Nah, I'm doing this." And he showed me he sent me a picture. He's doing that wobbles thing that we were talking about. He's making a frog wobble. So wobbles are essentially like little kits to teach you how to crochet. My nephew is learning the art of crocheting. He loves frogs. This looks like a rat. I don't know. Yo, Santana, what's good, Papa? Yo, how are the kiddos, bro? How's the missus? Yo, are you pulling up to the Monkey Twat stuff, the barbecue? You went to Anime NYC today? You saw? Did you meet Ali there? I had tickets for Anime NYC, but I had to work today. Like, I was looking at the schedule and I was like, I would love to take off today, but nah. No, I'm definitely going, bro. I'm definitely going, man. Me and Prez, we pulling up. We gonna pop out and show out. Oh yeah, Ali's going all 3 days. So I mean, I don't know if today she was what was she dressed as today? Today Ali was dressed up as Toph from Avatar: Last Airbender. I had like a good amount of homies that pulled up today. Oh, you got some tea to tell? Well, what are the other plans? If you could, you know, let us in on those plans. Maybe I'll show Dick face. Hey yo. Sunday is AEW. Oh. Wait, there's a Ren Fair tomorrow? Where at? By your crib? Yeah, I did, Rocky. I had to play this game, bro. Also, Arrow, is this a good time to go down this way? Now that I fought that other dude? I still need to find the shrine, but every weekend, all year round, bro? Or like for a specific amount of months? The only thing I request, Santana, is that you wear your Airbender outfit, bro. From mid-August to early October. Yo, I've never been to a Ren Fair. I want to go to one. I want to go to one bad. You have an outfit ready? Let's go, bro. Yo, send me a link to those pants, bro. I wanna experience that, bro. I need to experience the wind just going like, he's like slipping through both nuts, bro. Oh shit. Okay, this is not good. I got no gourd, bro. Oh, he's about to kill me. Oh shit. He almost had me. I need health. Your boy need health. Yo, bunny. Where the health at? What colors do I want? That's a good question, girl. What colors do I want? Do I don't know what colors you got, but I was wondering if you could do like a mixture of these colors. Hold on. Let me go to display switch. There we go. Can you do like these colors? Purple. I guess you could go with like teal, green, and black. I don't know why this. I don't know why. I don't know why this. Yeah, kind of like Joker colors. Yeah, kind of like Joker colors too. Yeah. Yeah. Fresno's a vibe. Oh, thank you, Wula. Damn, I'm gonna have to make an early trip to Chicago just to pick that up. Only weak enemies respawn if you rest, in case you're wondering. Okay, I've never rested at. But am I close? I feel like I should be close to a shrine. Get away while you can, little monkey. Damn. What beast is he talking to? Oh wait, is that a shrine? Oh yes, this is a shrine. Oh, let's go. I meant I pulled the incense out of my own hair. Oh no, I don't have. Wait, what is this? I got 2 sparks. No, I'm not level 20 yet. I'm only level 13. Allows using gourd while sprinting. Moderately increases sprint speed. I forgot I was supposed to be quiet. Once you pass that gate, there's no turning back. Hey, yo, Menchie, what's up, man? Welcome on in. All right. See what's over here. Oh, damn. Boy. Yo, he moves like the ape from Sekiro.
Yeah.
Come on. Oh shit, Troy, you holy shit. Ah, he violated right there. There you go, bro. Shit! Woo. Get fucked, bro. Oh shit! I should have blocked that one. Ah! First try. Yo, Poison Hippie, I'm enjoying this game. No, this game does not have any God of War vibes. At least I don't feel them yet. This game is Sekiro minus the parry system. Like that enemy right there was moving like the what's his name? The cursed ape. Inflicts considerable more damage bonus on enemies at critical health. Moderately increases the will gained. You haven't played Sekiro? Oh my god, do yourself a favor and play it. Just prepare for a very difficult game. Celestial Jade Lotus Pill, a miraculous pill concocted by the god of longevity in the southernmost reaches of the land that massively increases maximum health. Okay. Okay. What should I do? I'm caught in a tight spot. Come closer, fear not. Noble blood doesn't prey on travelers like you. Should I put the language back to English? I don't know if it like can you guys see the subtitles like very well? Let me see the language real quick.
You don't look like a Yaogwai from these parts. Have you come to earn the Black Wind King's favor?
He's a horse.
Hear me. That bear is but a hollow shell. He can grant you nothing. Don't waste your time on him. He lies about cheating death and even the treasures. His followers are, all of them, deceived. Blackwind Gwai is a sly one. He preaches virtue with a heart full of greed. I wouldn't entrust him with my plea. I don't know why you are here, but you should be vigilant. Now, I'm pressed for time. Fare thee well, then.
This dude is massive, bro.
I don't know why you are here. Now,
Another monkey.
Another monkey. That was yarn? That thing was clearly glowing. That is not yarn.
so there really is someone who would dare.
I wish you could perform stealth attacks in this game. You can't do that, right, Arrow? Stealth attacks in this game? Snakehead mushroom. Who's down there, man? Hey, how did I get hit? I swore I rolled away from the frogs. Are you feeling it now, Mr. Krabs? Do I offer incense? and I rest, does it bring that guy back? Because I'm assuming he's like one of the weaker enemies, right? I don't like that guy though. I'm not a fan of that guy. Ew, not incest, incense. That is crazy.
Long bound by worldly pains.
Y'all need help, bro.
In nature's
Yo, Steel, we gotta talk about we gotta talk about collabing a game together, bro. Steel, have you gotten the platinum to I feel like I might have actually this before. Have you ever gotten the platinum to like Wildlands? The Tom Clancy game, Wildlands and Breaking Point? Oh shit! Nah. Where are you? Bitch ass. No, that's not it. Damn, let me rest. I don't know where that guy came from though, because I didn't even rest or anything. I still need to get the platinum to those two games, bro. And like I know I could get it alone, but those are the type of games I do not want to play alone. You know what I mean?
Have you seen those nameless souls adrift on your path? Their wheels float aloft, never to fade. Shame, your god serves little purpose, and mine answers solely to me. I know a way to guide the souls, mend their paths, and set them free. It will aid you.
This is better. This gourd, though humble, may save the lost, banish their obsessions, and guide them.
So is this what I needed, Arrow, for the... Yes, it is. Oh boy, okay. Okay.
With me! Hold the line!
Our king has...
Wait, where's that guy's spirit?
So there really is something... Mercy, good sir. When you're down.
Happy affiliate anniversary.
Thank you so much, thank you so much, General. How you doing, man? How's Lennox? I hope he enjoyed his time with us. Thank you, Bula, for the hype. Hey, yo. I love that for him, man. Lucky Lennon. All right, I'm gonna just call him Len. I'm gonna just call him Lucky then. I'll respect your wishes, sir. Man, I like this game. I like this game. I know I've only scratched the surface, but the game is fun. Uh-oh. I don't like where I'm walking to. Let me go back here real quick. Yo, Deck, I've been loving your art, Deck. Thank you for always sharing your art with us in the Discord, man. And thank you for the happy affiliate anniversary, man. I want to do a proper celebration, but I gotta plan it out. I've been an affiliate 4 years with Toza. I earned I got affiliate in my. I unlocked affiliate in my. I want to say my 4th stream. I've been I never had to deal with you know, like that zero viewer woes that a lot of streamers dealt with. I was fortunate to be part of my 2K basketball league, and I would only stream whenever we had a game, and because of that, I always had views. Leo, thank you so much, Leo. How you doing, Queen? I hope you're holding up well. I don't know if I should head back to where I was going or keep going where I'm going now. Hey yo, Lady Death, what's up? Welcome on in. Okay, oh shit. Okay, all right. Ooh. What poisoned me? Was it those guys? Did they poison me? Funky, what the slorping glorping is that? You're feeling a 3 to 4 today, Leo? All right. Though you think it's more sleepiness talking. Okay, okay. Stream is going good, Lady Death. I like this game. We are, I believe, I believe I'm progressing. I'm pretty. I don't want to jinx it. God damn it, Funky, can you add that, please? You know what? I believe it too. I believe it too, Carly. With all the stories you were telling us about, man. Yo, Carly was out here, bro. You're picking up Chili tomorrow, right? He's trying to get this combo going. You get entered into a Discord giveaway where you have a chance to win like stuff that as a viewer and as a streamer you could probably use. So things like a new mic, new headset, new keyboard, stream deck, stuff like that. Oh fuck.
This humble one's name is Guangmo. Should my demise come by your hands, please pass this message to my master. Searching for deity, mortals do aspire. Craving immortality, Yao Guais surely will conspire.
Oh shit. Okay, homie. First of all, I need my gourd. Second of all, shit.
Boys, keep him entertained.
Oh. First try.
You are just like him.
Wenmo. Wenju. I remember now. Evil monks abetted Elder Jincha to burn the great sage and tongue monk.
This game is about the Monkey King, Critical, the character that they based Goku of.
Who would have thought they had turned into Yao Guais?
I got my Nimbus Cloud and everything, bro. I got my power pole. Yeah, this game is about the Monkey King, bro. That's why I was super excited about it too, because I love Dragon Ball so much. So that's me. I'm the well, you can't if I take off the, but yeah, this is me, man. Sun Wukong. You got a power pole for me? Hey, yo.
Hey, yo!
Yo, Ecstasy, thank you so much for the happy affiliate anniversary, Brody. How you doing, man?
What the hell is even that?
I have an ominous feeling.
Yo,
After the bell
Funky,
rang,
I
it
went
seems as though
today.
the
I was
resentment in the depths of the mountain has
I was
grown.
looking at the streamer. I was looking at the streamer suggestions and my
Your
thing,
presence has
and I
already
went back
made
a little bit,
mess in the mountain.
and like
Why not go
a lot of the emotes that I added were your suggestions. You had suggested this funny Mario one. I think it was called like Mario Party or something, and it was just like 4 different Marios throwing ass. I had to add that one too. All right, Alright, so I came from there. No, I came from here. So what's over here? Nah, actually, hold on. I gotta go back because there's definitely something over there by the water that I need to get. Who is eating ass? I mean, hopefully everybody in chat either eats ass or lets their ass get ate. I feel like that's like a prerequisite when you come in here. Yeah. Yo, Rat Queen, what's up? How we feeling today? Wait, Rat Queen, you don't eat ass? You don't like getting your ass ate? What the fuck is that? Oh, big frog! What the fuck, bro? Holy shit, okay. God damn. Alright, fuck you, bro. Yo, he had me there, bro. Give me your soul. Yo, we've been first timing a lot of these bosses though. Not for nothing. No, I'm gonna do more of the adding between today's stream and tomorrow's stream. There's a lot more stuff I gotta add. Steel. Dude Wipes makes pumpkin spice butt wipes. Yo, pumpkin spice, bro. Pumpkin spice booty hole is wild. Yo, come September 1st though, that's all I'm gonna be using is the Dude Wipes, pumpkin spice Dude Wipes, bro.
How you ass smell basic lol.
I got nothing to say. I can't say shit. I got nothing to say, Funk. Just shove pumpkin spice right up my ass. Oh my god.
Booty hole smelling basic. Use pumpkin spice wipes.
No, but it's the pumpkin spice that's gonna make it smell basic, because pumpkin spice is mad basic. That's that basic white girl starter pack, bro. You know what though? Thank you so much for your prime, Lady Death. I've never had a pumpkin spice latte. I mean, I don't drink coffee, so there's no reason for me to have a pumpkin spice latte, but you know, I kind of just try. I kind of want to just try it once, just to see like what all the fuss is about. Pumpkin is dog food? Ever get grinded like a coffee bean? Bro, what is going on with you guys today, bro? Ever get grinded? Yo, that sounds like a fucking... Don't threaten me with a fucking good time, Broadway. Manuelito.
Coarse grind or fine grind?
Yo. I don't know, man. I don't know. Yo, I don't know anything about coffee, bro. I don't know what the difference is between coarse grind and shit, bro. Yo, I don't either, bro. Like, fucking during Chicago, I went with the girls to the
Coarse grind is for French press only. Fine grind belongs in the trash.
Well, shit. I went to the coffee shop with the girls, and I didn't even get coffee. I was just there with them. I got me some dope ass citrus drink though. I was like, citrus drink fucks. Which, not for nothing, like, not to toot my own horn, but for someone with like sleep apnea and shit, you would think I would run on like energy drinks and caffeine, but I don't, bro. I barely drink any. I don't drink energy drinks and I don't drink coffee. So the only caffeine that I get is from like teas and stuff. That's the only place I get caffeine from, really. Yeah, I could only imagine how I would be if I didn't have sleep apnea, bro. I'd be fucking unstoppable.
These snake guys are nothing to fear. Snake gall steeped in drink, though, makes a fine tonic to flush malady. Here, here, young friend.
Fine grind is for espresso. You know what's wild though? I've been told I make some really good ass coffee, even though I never drink coffee myself. Ooh, what's this? I'll take that. Suckage. What's good, homie?
Well, well. I'd stake you're one more monkey from Mount Huaguo. I've met many of you. By rank of birth, you all ought to call me forefather.
Yeah, Carly. Yo, Carly. Next time we meet up, yo,
old monkey.
make me scrambled eggs and I'll make you coffee. Let's see how that ends up, bro.
I brought treasure troves down to this rowboat. Have a look if something catches your fancy.
My shit. Oh, speaking about coffee, we got brew.
Yeah, you need a fine gourd to drink from. Yeah, I'll fetch you a fitting one. Yeah.
Wait, why you dying, Bula? What did Funky say? Funky, what is going on with that emo combo? Oh shit. That is crazy. Celestial Seeds, ayo.
Try it as you will. Joy is what counts.
Celestial Seed was my nickname in college.
Tried a new tea during our trip called Hojika. I hope I pronounced it right. Hojika. And it was delicious. Kind of earthy but smooth. Great as an iced latte. The best part of that emo combo was reading it on mobile. Oh no, Carly, because you don't see the emotes, you just see the fucking words. Oh, oh my god, Mill, I know you just got back, but you gotta try that new Fortnite season, man. The new Fortnite season is bomb.
Sip makes one tipsy, many sips make you hammered.
But it's cozy time. What time is it? Oh, it's already 12 o'clock. Girl, is it cozy time for you on the weekends too, like the same time? Yesterday, I came home and like I showered and I got out of the shower and I laid in bed and I fell asleep. Woke up. And it was like 9 o'clock and then I realized, oh shit, it's Thursday. I was supposed to stream today. And I didn't. A part of me wasn't even gonna stream today too, but then after I was like, oh, it's my affiliate anniversary. I was like, I might as well. But like, I had no idea it was my affiliate anniversary, so I never had the time to set up anything. So I want to celebrate my affiliate anniversary some other day. Oh shit, another fight.
Hailed bird, hailed bird.
Yo, let me know, Crit, whenever, bro. I recruited Carly to play fucking Fortnite too, man. We about to have new shooters on the block, bro. Straight hitters every. Nah.
Hour, young one, in which you choose to stay in my tranquil abode. Pray tell, to what end do you seek?
Fuck.
Bane and summon.
Insufficient mana to cast.
As unfit as I deemed.
What the hell happened to my mana? How come I couldn't? Hold on a second. What the hell happened to my? How come I couldn't cast a magic spell? Did he just like suck up all that magic, bro? All right. We're gonna run that one back, guys. Squirt Pog Plant was my nickname in college? Nah. What the fuck is a Pog Plant, bro? Alright, bro. Here to fuck you up.
Is it any
Bro, what happened to my mana? Alright.
A ripple away. Unfit as I deemed.
I don't know why I couldn't freeze him. I don't know what's a Pog Plant with you. You know what? A bullet. Oh. I love you ladies. You ladies make my life more exciting. That fucking emo Bulayo.
Hey, you douche your kiss.
Oh no, don't do that to me right now.
You still not
like combo, bro. Can somebody give can somebody give Shin his points back? Because I couldn't do the Spider-Man kiss. Yo, man, he literally dead ass said that, bro. Thank you, Bula. What the hell is that emote, Harley? A spit and spoim? Wow, somebody made a spoim emote? That is... When a random gift sub emote is fire, bro. What is this? Oh, wow.
Get it in the ghost. Power of water. Feel
I'm in danger.
Oh, you son of a bitch. Oh, you son of a bitch. Okay, let's board up again.
Not without a stir. Reflect upon it.
There we go.
You have forced my Now you shall face what I truly.
Oh, we got a second phase boss? Oh! Shit, okay. We had a second phase boss. That's the first boss that we encounter with a second phase. All right, so I think what I got to do real quick is some self-advance. Oh, I could cultivate spirits to make them stronger. My tongue getting go stupid right there. You saw that, chat?